Ooh, okay. Truckers. Truckers is the first in the Gnomes trilogy, or the Bromeliad, by Terry Pratchett, 1989 book, supposedly for children, though is, as with all Terry Pratchett, is sort of just for Terry Pratchett readers. I was kind of hesitant to come to these books. I've had them on my shelves for a while. I thought, like, oh, gnomes, it's going to be kind of a cutesy gnomes story, maybe in the Discworld. No, this is gnomes in kind of a recognizable England. Not that the gnomes themselves recognize that they are in England. And the gnomes are not your fairyland gnomes. I will leave it at that. But this is a atheist. This is a children's book for atheists, or atheists who want to write children's books can take gnomes as their example. The core group of gnomes that we get to meet at first are living out what looks like across from a rest stop. Things have gone really bad. They end up climbing on a truck and ending up, as luck would have it, at a department store, which is referred to as the store, which is inhabited by gnomes who have lived there from time out of mind. Gnomes are very short-lived. I think they live maybe about 10 years. I did a little reading on this thing of how short-lived they are and how, we shouldn't feel sorry for them, that they pack all of their life into that 10 years, as much as human beings pack as much life as they can into 80 years or 90 years or less. So this is very much a book about beliefs, about how, you're a tiny little person in the universe, and you look around and you have a tiny little sample size, and you use that to construct all of your beliefs. And indeed, the gnomes of the store, which is the main kind of satirical thing, think that this is established by the Arnold brothers. Arnold brothers, established in 1905, is their kind of their god in this thing, and will look out for them. And that the seasons are like the Christmas fair, the summer's fair, all the sales of the thing. They use all this to create their own kind of religion. And indeed, they have an abbot who has made all the stuff. Except that bad news, they get the new things that everything must go clearing sale. And they find out through various means that, yes, the store is shutting down. The store is closing and will be demolished. And luckily for them, Masklin, who is kind of the leader of the outsider gnomes, who actually know what the sky is and have all this other stuff. They're very tiny, like 4-inch tall little creatures who move way faster. They look at human beings, and human beings are like, I'm talking. They can't understand what they're saying. But the religious class of the gnomes in the store actually do know how to read, though they don't really interpret what they're reading. They just sort of, it's very like dogmatic, like it's like you're chanting something, but you don't understand the words. Prtchtt, as always in his novel, has very much the theme. What do we have here? Because like they were looking at the lorries, and when they looked at the lorries, they thought of it as a nest. Because these giant creatures came in and out of it, but they seem to kind of like nest here. But he's like, and he looks at the end of the novel and thinks, to think he'd once called it a lorry nest. Garage. That was the word. It was amazing. It was amazing the feeling you got from knowing the right names. You felt in control. It was as if knowing what the right name was gave you a sort of a lever. And indeed, this is a book where they do talk about levers, and give me the right size lever and I can move the world. Has an application for gnomes in that. So there's a lot of that sort of stuff in the novel. Now that said, it's not like this is a philosophical thing on it. There's always a kind of a constant niggling of oh, look at these funny little creatures and how they've created this elaborate religion and meaning system out of their limited knowledge. And if you're a kid, you're probably just like, oh yeah, you take that. But you also might look around and see the adults who have seemed to have apparently also created elaborate meaning systems out of their own limited knowledge, even when that limited knowledge has actually been bypassed by science. Terry Pratchett is definitely an atheist, and I am as well. So I find this stuff, it's amusing. It is an amusing novel. It has an adventure story as the key thing in this. So I'm not going to go too much further. It has an adventure story which, when you're 4 inches tall, where you're 4 inches tall, to be able to, and you have very limited knowledge set, to just figure out how to drive down the road is a huge adventure which will take up a short little novella. So yes, that's the first book in the Truckers series. Will they get out of the store in time? Will they figure out how to maneuver and operate things to be able to do that successfully? You'll have to read it to find out. I'm going to go on and try and, in short succession here, read the rest of them, and then perhaps maybe just do a full wrap up of the entire series. That's my plan. All right, more videos later.